but has had some difficulty cracking through.
All right. Well, maybe he'll have success this time around.
Because this may be a win and in match right now, a win and then a draw.
It's likely to be based on our player count. We can't guarantee anything. We're not prophets or sages.
Speak for yourself. Arbor Elf on turn 1 via Temple Garden is going to start the show for Berni. He's going to get a little aggressive with that little elf and see if there's going to be a follow-up. It's just going to be overgrown to him and pass the turn. So that means no mulchers and no grizzly salvages on the horizon.
Those are the cards you look to recoup a mulligan. So it'll be interesting to see how Robert actually plans to go about doing it. Kelly, no problems with mulligans on his side. He casts a turn 2 Sign of Blood. That's not as good as most Sign of Bloods, however, as he'll be discarding a card during the end step. So paying 2 mana and 2 life to cycle effectively, not ideal.
Now, you talked about the Magic Online metagame, as I know you're playing the Aristocrats quite a bit on there, and that's where this green-black mid-range deck kind of came from, and we saw Robbie Cordell bring that from Magic Online over to Nashville last weekend to make the top 8 with it. How do you feel about this deck in general?
Honestly, I mean, I've only been playing the Aristocrats against it. I think I'm like 3-1 against it. And Mark of Mutiny, real nice card in that matchup.
Yeah, that's probably true.
But Mutilate's interesting. It's a Wrath that's more effective than most against things like the Aristocrats, as it obviously kills Cartel Aristocrat and Falcon Wrath Aristocrat, both, which very few Wraths kill both.
That's true.
I'm very curious to see what happens in this match, because, you know, for this deck to be a contender in Standard, it has to be able to beat Junk Reanimator. So I'm eager to watch Kelly get to work, see what he plans to do.
Well, he's going to start by playing Liliana in the Veil on turn 3. Going to make the Edict effect happen. Berni's going to sacrifice his Avacyn's Pilgrim, which means he can finish it off with the Arbor Elf, depending on what his turn looks like here, because we might just see him go towards maybe a 4th land and a Thragtusk instead. But Arbor Elf is going to take down Liliana.
Yeah, I feel like even if I had a Thragtusk, I would be pretty tempted to just get that Liliana, unless I had, you know, one of my Unburial Rights targets in my hand, in which case I wouldn't mind pitching one. Given Robert's situation, he's obviously missing land drops, but he has a bunch of mana accelerants. He could even be conceivably casting Angel Serenity in this game.
And speaking of missing land drops, Kelly doesn't hit his land this turn, and he's going to have one less now due to Acidic Slime. And the last time we actually had Kelly on camera earlier today, he had mana troubles then as well. He does draw an Overgrown Tomb this turn, but now the mana could be going up in smoke here if we see a Restoration Angel or an Unburial Rights in that slime.
I think that Kelly maybe telegraphed his mana issues a little bit when he made that turn 2 Sign of Blood, as that's a play you wouldn't usually make unless you needed something.
Sure.
Either you were flooded or screwed, and that's probably what the situation was for Kelly. He, you know, kept that hand, was hoping to peel some lands when he didn't. He just had to play up Sign of Blood that was not as good as he'd wanted. And
so there you saw Kelly play Liliana in the Veil, make Robert sacrifice. He sacrificed Acidic Slime almost immediately, thinking to himself, like, I felt maybe he had Unburial Rights in his hand, but you see off the mulch there, as he does draw 3 lands and Unburial Rights off of it, he's going to play this Gavany Township, it looks like, and probably flashback Unburial Rights to destroy that Overgrown Tomb.
Yep.
I mean, makes you wonder if he did have Unburial Rights in his hand, but maybe mulch changed his plan.
Yeah, I think I see an Unburial Rights there, actually, and that would be pretty interesting, because that means you know, he went for the mulch first, without knowing he'd be able to get it.
I mean, he was very quick to sacrifice that Acidic Slime, though. Wasted no time.
And Liliana going for the +1.
What to discard is the question. It's going to be a Temple Garden and a Desecration Demon.
Desecration Demon, not very good in the Reanimator matchup, I would wager.
Yeah, I would be surprised to see that one really have a huge impact. I know, you know, of course, in combination of Disciple of Bolas, you can draw 6 and gain 6 life, so drawing that number of cards is probably pretty good, but it seems like it's pretty hard to get that thing going, because we're going to see Berni tap a bunch of lands here and play an Angel Serenity.
Well, it's not the best Angel Serenity I've ever seen, but yeah, it's still a 5/6 flyer at the end of the day.
Yeah, Acidic Slime's going to finish off Liliana in the Veil, and it actually feels like, you know, because of Thompson's mana problems, of course, but Angel Serenity is a difficult card for a mono-black strategy to be able to interact with profitably.
What kind of mana problems? You drew 5 lands. What do you want?
What am I insinuating?
I'm just saying.
Yeah. And Berni's going to show him a land and a Crater of Behemoth, and we're going to move along to game number 2. So Robert Berni is going to win game 1 with Junk Reanimator over Kelly Thompson and his green-black mid-range deck. I've got Kelly's deck list in front of me, so I'm going to go towards the sideboard here first because he's going to be on the play.
Hit me.
2 Vraska the Unseen, 1 Mutilate, 2 Ground Seal, 3 Duress, 2 Underworld Connections, 3 Appetite for Brains, and 2 copies of Golgari Charm. Of these cards, I mean, I feel like Mutilate is actually pretty important in this matchup for Kelly to be able to contain those mana accelerants. Can also, you know, finish off some other creatures in the mid-game to late game. Ground Seal, of course, is going to come in. And then the other ones are arguable. Like, if you think it's going to be a grindy matchup, you want Underworld Connections, but Underworld Connections can get blown out very easily by Acidic Slime.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be going there. I mean, I'm not a math scientist, but that's a 2-for-1 if I've ever seen one.
That is accurate. That's why we bring you in on occasion.
I like the ground seals, obviously. I agree with you on the Mutilate. I could see some appetite for Brains, perhaps. Golgari Charm can also do a really weird bonfire impression against those mana guys.
Yeah, that's true, actually. And the other moves of Golgari Charm are going to be Destroy an Enchantment and Regenerate all your guys.
Yeah,
those probably aren't
really
going to come up very often,
yeah.
And then I agree with you on Appetite for Brains. I'm not sure if you want the full 3. But it seems like, like the first one's going to be probably really good, and then like the ones after that are going to be pretty mediocre. Yeah. So how many of those do you board in is a pretty good question. But the
Sounds
rest,
like one to me.
Yeah. but the rest of them in the sideboard here just really don't feel great to me.
One of the perks of being a Liliana of the Veil deck is you can, kind of overboard a little bit with those cards because you have something to do with them when they don't do anything. Discard them.
Sure.
To Liliana.
I mean, the question, right, is like, are you even leaving in Liliana Veil in this matchup? He has 4 copies of them.
Yeah.
It doesn't really seem like it's at its best in this matchup. We saw Liliana be 2 edicts, and Robert didn't really care.
Yeah, I don't know what else you're gonna do. You gotta kill their creatures with something, right? That's the theory, at least.
I suppose so.
The deck is like mono removal against a deck that's designed to gain a lot of card advantage from its creatures. So that's why I was kind of curious to see this matchup, because on the surface, just if someone was, like explaining these 2 decks to me, I would be like, wow, it sounds like that Drol's Messenger guy is going to get thrashed.
Yeah.
But, maybe there's something I'm missing. I don't know.
All right, well, we'll take a look at Berni's sideboard next.
Robert Berni is sideboarding 4 Deathrite Shaman, 3 Abrupt Decay, 2 Tragic Slip, 2 Acidic Slime, a Cavern of Souls, a Sever the Bloodline, and 2 Sin Collectors. Sin Collector, actually quite good against this deck.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at the spell count here. You see 3 Abrupt Decays, 3 Tragic Slip, 4 Sign in Blood, 2 Victim of Night, 3 Mutilate, 1 Putrefy, and 2 Cremates. Plenty of hits there.
Yeah, plenty of hits, and the big ones Mutilate can really give you some information as to what's going on. I've been known to, take a Mutilate out of an opponent's hand with a Sin Collector, or leave as many as 3. Shocker, that usually doesn't go well when your opponent knows whether or not you should be able to cast a Mutilate.
Yeah, fair enough.
Robert Berni also has access to some interesting ones. I think Deathrite Shaman, kind of reasonable. I like it mostly because, you can get a little bit of that mana excel on with your Grizzly Salvage. And also, he's playing against a spell-laden deck. He can, actually start to use it that way.
Yeah, that's true.
The pluses and minuses are not that bad, and Geralf's Messenger is much worse when it cannot come back. So that's kind of interesting, but the one I'm sure of, Acidic Slime.
Yeah, if you didn't bring it up, I was going to, because he got 2 in his main and 2 in his sideboard, and we saw how devastating it was that game, and this is the kind of matchup where Acidic Slime really just preys on the opponent, and why its inclusion was in the deck, because people who were trying to play these, I guess we could call this deck a fair control deck, they get cut up pretty badly by Acidic Slime. Who knew 5 mana Stone Rain would be so good? Besides Brian Bronduin.
Yeah, Brian Bronduin had it on lock.
He knows something about Acidic Slime that we don't. But you know what? To be fair, Conley Woods, I'm going to give you some credit. You're probably watching at home right now. You are the original king. You are the original king of Acidic Slime. So I got to give you your due. You knew all along, and Brian Bronduin is just, he's your graduate of your school.
A disciple, if you will.
Yes. That's
the St. Paul.
That's a big word that I try not to use very often. It's just too much for me. Even though there are 2 copies of Disciple of Bolas.
Disciple of Bolas. Yeah. A nice card in this deck. It's one of those cards where you kind of like, oh, that is good when they cast it. It's underwhelming even while it's on the stack, and then, the board resolves, you look at things, you're like, all right, that was pretty good. I'll give you credit where it's due. That
card when it was released, I really wanted that card to be good.
Everyone did.
I was like super excited when I saw it. I'm like, yeah, it's gonna go in zombies. You're gonna play like Messenger. And you're gonna sacrifice it. It's gonna be like the best turn ever. And that didn't surface as I think I wanted it to, which is unfortunate because I think, as you said, everyone wanted that card to be good, and it's just kind of meh, unfortunately.
I mean, it's doing a little work here. Maybe we see, M14 comes out. Maybe Theros comes out. Maybe things change a little. You know?
There's an accent. I don't. What is that accent?
It's nothing.
Is that Italian? What is that?
Whoa! I don't like what you're insinuating.
I'm just asking a question. There's no insinuation. You went to a different zone there. I kind of liked it.
All right.
See, I can't do accents. My friends make fun of me because I try, and I'm just very bad at them. So I'll just let you keep doing your thing.
All right. That's fun for me.
You know, as both players here have their lands, we're going to see a mulch here from Robert Berni. Going to turn over a Craterhoof, an Arbor Elf, a Restoration Angel, and a Temple Garden's going to go to the hand.
Only one land? That's not how BBD does it.
No, absolutely not.
No.
we're going to see a swap, but it's going to be Messenger time or Liliana? It's going to be Messenger again.
Let's start those beats.
The interesting thing to see is if Kelly's going to have his 4th land, because the last time we saw Kelly play, when he had Desecration Demon to play against Joe Bass, it was actually awesome because it was huge, and Joe really couldn't mount like an offense, and he started having to start like sacrifice guys and chump blocking, and Desecration Demon got the job done.
One of the cards a lot of people have cut from Junk Reanimator, including, as we discussed, BBD, was Lingering Souls, obviously a great weapon against Desecration Demon. Berni actually has Lingering Souls in his deck. His list is a departure a little bit from what we've come to expect, so Desecration Demon is not quite the same threat against him.
We have a Fiend Hunter here, which is a card that I don't actually love in this matchup. You know, it's questionable if Berni actually knows like the matchup very well, what he's playing against, but Fiend Hunter is never going to stick around with how much removals in Thompson's deck.
Kelly has access to just an actual ton of removal.
Second mulch, going to bring a forest over to Berni's hand. 2 more Restoration Angels and an Avacyn's Pilgrim go to the bin. So if you're Kelly Thompson, you're keeping track, there's 3 Restoration Angels in the graveyard, so you don't really have to worry about those on the attack step very much.
Yep.
So there's an Avacyn's Pilgrim. After that mulch, Desecration Demon Trigger is going to go on the stack. Going to try to get you real quick.
Well, let me point out that you could sacrifice your creature for no real reason.
Hey, never know. Could have a big plan.
We also see in Kelly's hand one of the more interesting cards that's main decked in the green-black deck, Cremate.
Yeah, 2 copies of that card, and you know that's obviously a nod towards the Junk Reanimator matchup. Also, you know, the Snapcaster decks are looming as we're going to see a Ground Seal. But one thing that Cremate doesn't really work very well with is the Ground Seal. As we'll bring up Ground Seal on the screen for you guys. It's a little touch awkward.
Yeah, I probably would have cremated first if I was that intent on sticking the Ground Seal.
Yeah, you know, it's a symmetrical effect. It seems like it seemed like it wouldn't be, but it is a symmetrical effect, so it does affect both players' graveyards.
Everybody stands on the same ground.
You're right. We do.
Acidic Slime, unusually, Ground Seal does not protect the actual ground, so Acidic Slime can target lands, but it's going to choose to target Ground Seal itself.
Yeah, that's got to go. So now it's Desecration Demon time. Is it time to bash? Is it time to sacrifice a guy? All right, it's time to bash. 6 in the air.
You don't start with 20 life points, so you can protect all 20 of them. You only need the last one.
Yeah, that's kind of hanging by a moment there. That's different. I don't like being at 1.
That's not true. I know that you love it.
I don't like being at 1 at all. I don't feel comfortable.
You're one of the sickos who's just like, yes.
Yeah, I don't like being... yeah. You know me.
You like to ride the lightning.
You know me good. I just play all my Ravnica lands untapped no matter what. You've got me pegged. As we see another Desecration Demon here from Thompson. He's going to pass the turn back with Berni at 6 life. The question is, does Berni have another land for an Angel Serenity that I believe is in his hand? That is the big question right now. As you see 4 mana, oh my, that's a Sever the Bloodline.
That is a Sever the Bloodline. Man.
Good.
You see the glance, Bernie looks up, he's like, is this good?
Goodness. Oh, me, oh
That's
my.
pretty good. Kelly obviously reeling after that hit. I imagine he's going to be having to cast that Mutilate in short order. Note that, you know, Mutilate was a pretty interesting card right there. He had, you know, some 6/6s in play, 5 Swamps in play. That's a nice little synergy he's got going on. Obviously, right now he has no 6/6s. That changed very quickly for him.
Yeah. And he actually does have another land in his hand, so maybe he just doesn't have Angel Serenity, or maybe it's just not time to cast it yet. You bring up the point of Mutilate, and right now you're looking at those 3 cards that are in play: the Fiend Hunter, the Slime, and the Avacyn's Pilgrim. Mutilate's actually going to let Thompson get his Draw Messenger back, put Berni down to 4. So this actually could be a pretty good Mutilate, and that's what we're going to see.
Yep. The key here, however, is that the Messenger will now be vulnerable to the Angel Serenity. However, Kelly has a Putrefy in his hand. He can Putrefy the Angel Serenity and get the Giraffe's Messenger back.
He can also get a little techie here, in which, okay, so let's say that Berni does play a 7th land and plays the...
I like where you're going, I already know.
And he plays the Angel Serenity. He can Abrupt Decay that Drawless Messenger with the Angel's effect on the stack, and then Putrefy the Angel and actually attack for the win.
Yep, but it looks like Robert is not going to make that line. Perhaps he doesn't even have the 7th land. He's casting on Barrow Rights. I assume it's targeting one of the creatures in his graveyard. I don't really know much beyond that.
Healthy read. Healthy read. And I assume that we're going to see a Cremate in a moment for whatever's being targeted. I don't think it gets any better than right now.
I don't know. If I'm Kelly, I'm probably, you know, doing a little math here. I'm thinking, what could I do? I can probably just kill him. Yeah, I think I'll just kill him.
I mean, maybe you don't want to give away that you have Cremate in your deck, but at the same time, like,
the awkward spot that he's in, I think, is he only has 1 green source. So like, if Robert has, you know, like a mana elf post combat, he can actually live. So he's kind of thinking maybe I want to be able to Abrupt Decay a Mana Elf and then Putrefy something or whatever,
Sure.
but Putrefy whatever the Embarrass Rights gets back.
Yeah, so yeah, there's the Mana Elf that you speak of.
Called it.
But
So
no,
now,
he's still. Oh, yeah, because he only has one green,
now
so
he
it's just-
can't kill
Yeah,
him.
he
But
just
he drew an
one.
overrun
All
to him,
right.
so it doesn't matter.
So as long as he sees the line of play here, which is to take care of your guy with the Abrupt Decay, bash you, Putrefy my guy, let's go to a third one, my friend, and that's what we are going to do. So Kelly Thompson does tie this matchup up here, Green-Black Midrange versus Junk Reanimator, and you see the difference in games, Glenn, when he does have Desecration Demon versus when he doesn't.
Yeah, that card apparently is good in this matchup. Maybe that's where you derive your wins if you're the green-black deck.
It's just a boom boom. I mean, that thing is huge.
It doesn't seem that excellent to me. I don't know. I feel like maybe it tempts the opponent into making it good, if that makes sense. You know, they're like, well, I can handle that at any point. It's not that big a deal. I'll just, take 6 here, take 6 there, and then you get mutilated. All your creatures are gone. You're like, well, now I don't get to pick.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't get to pick anymore.
I honestly believe that probably happens a lot with this deck because, again, this deck isn't, one of the decks that everyone's used to seeing. So, like, you're like, exactly the situation you bring up. It's like, yeah, I'll take 6 the first time. Yeah, I'll take it the second time, too. Who cares? And then they're like, all right, kill all your guys. What do you want to sacrifice? Oh, you don't have anything to sacrifice. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens, like, quite a bit.
Yeah, I've been known to bust the occasional creature a little early, so maybe that's why I've not been impressed.
Oh, okay.
I'm the kind of guy who will throw away a Sin Collector at the drop of a hat.
Oh, you just don't care about your cards. That's fine.
He's a 2/1. I couldn't care less.
I'm sure when you do that, you have, what, 5 Blood Artists in play?
Oh, if only.
Yeah, just running hotter than the sun, are we? As we do see both players taking a look at their sideboards yet again here. Just reconsidering their options are Berni and Thompson. If you guys are just joining us at home, Cedric Phillips, Glenn Jones here in the booth, and at SCG Live, the Open Series has made our way to Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. Beautiful day here on Sunday. Wish we could be outside, but I don't mind being inside enjoying it in this air-conditioned building. Air conditioning is a beautiful thing. If you guys do want to join in with us on Twitter at SCG Live, hashtag SCGDAL. Glenn, I see your computer over there. You're ready for the tweets?
Yeah, I can see it. You could tweet right now, and I would be able to read it.
So if you guys want to insult him, he can actually read it immediately.
I'm watching the screen right now, so that won't work.
So if you insult him, he can actually read it immediately. So you should do that, and we'll be great. But yeah, it's an interesting matchup here. Again, like we've talked about green-black mid-range. Like, I don't think that someone could bring this deck to the table if it wasn't good against this deck, right? Like, this is the baseline for any deck in Standard. Like, it has to be good against Junk Reanimator. So, like, I don't think you can be like, well, I'll just try to dodge Junk Reanimator and I'll be fine. That doesn't really make much sense.
No, you have to be coming to the table expecting to play against this deck. That is the only option. So if you're playing green-black and it's this, new kid on the block deck kind of, I would imagine that's, what you came to expect.
And again, we see what was a pretty competitive game there, and I think that Cremate is a pretty interesting card to have in the main deck. Of course, it cycles, but it's also a nod towards you wanting to be able to beat these Junk Reanimator decks. Now, I don't think that playing 4 of those is reasonable, but playing some number of them is certainly fine, and I think 2 is a pretty ideal number.
I agree.
So Berni's going to be starting game number 3 here, and I'll be interested to see what his draw looks like. I think for the most part, his draw's been pretty good so far. Any game 1 when his draw was excellent, and game 2 I think his draw was still pretty good, and ended up losing that one. So it looks like the green-black mid-range deck can at least put up a fight against what Junk Reanimator is trying to accomplish.
Drawing their opening hands here.
Down to 6 we go.
Quick mulligan for Robert. Kelly, I can't tell if he's even looked at his hand yet. I don't think he has, yeah.
The slow roll.
Picking him up.
What do you think right now? Get a read. What do you think?
I think he's keeping.
He shows no emotion.
Yeah, I think he's keeping.
Oh, that was like a frown. Like he shook his head.
That was a no. I'm not mulliganing.
Ooh, okay, that was confident. That was a confident keep.
Yeah. I think it was about on the 4th card they decided to keep.
So when you take a look at your hand, are you the slow rolling type?
It depends. It depends on my mood. I've been known to pick up the first 3 cards and announce a keep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Exert dominance.
Yeah, I like to bring a little sass.
Okay. Okay, I can get behind that. I have an experience with Josh Ravitz the first time I met him, where he thought a very long time about keeping his 7 cards, and then played a 2-drop, 3-drop, 4-drop, and 5-drop and limited, and absolutely crushed me. I was wondering if that is something in your wheelhouse, or what kind of things you do when you're keeping it open.
It's within my range, for sure.
All in good fun. All in good fun. I like a snap keep more than most. So
to be fair, in tournaments, I'm mostly a little more on the serious side. I don't try to openly taunt, but when you're doing like a cube draft or
Sure.
a 3v3 or whatever, I mean in a 3v3, obviously anything is game. Like anything that could possibly impact your opponent on an emotional, psychological, or physical level, you're game.
Oh, and where are you from again?
Oh, the great state of Florida.
Oh, okay. You guys have quite the reputation. Anything is game in a 3v3.
Well
that should be the
earned.
slogan for Florida drafters. As we're going to see Berni taking a mulligan down to at least 5 here. Now, one thing to keep in mind, of course, is that the Chunk Reanimator deck, even though Berni is taking a mulligan to 5 here, he can undo mulligans quite well with Grizzly Salvage and Mulch. So it's certainly not the end of the world, and I'm sure if I asked Robert, have you won on a mulligan to 5 playing this deck, he'd say, yeah, it's happened many times.
Yeah. Obviously, you were there in Somerset, correct?
Yeah.
When Chris Van Meter, as we just said last
Woo,
round, pulled
boy.
off a mulligan to 4 against Max Teets. Easy
That game was insane. Man, that game was good. I know that we're compiling a best of SCG Live series, and that game's definitely going to be on it between Van Meter and Teets, because that was one of the most impressive games I've ever seen. And it's not like Teets did anything wrong. It's just that Van Meter did basically everything right.
Yeah.
It was pretty incredible.
Kelly shuffling up the deck here. Robert waiting patiently for the first keepable hand of the game, hopefully.
1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I mean, I see at least one land.
Oh, well, that's enough.
I mean, the card that he's honestly looking for in a mulligan of 5 is just Mulch.
Yep.
As you're going to see a Avacyn's Pilgrim start the show here for Berni.
Well, now he has enough mana to cast Mulch. Perfect.
The question is, does he have Mulch? Second land? Ooh, Overgrown Tomb and play untapped.
Well, that implies a Mulch or a Grizzly Salvage or 2 mana elves. Those are the various options.
It looks like I think he's got a salvage there. I think I caught a glimpse of it.
Salvage makes sense because I would generally, if it was a Mulch, I would just not take the 2. We've already seen the power of 2 damage in this matchup.
Yep.
So I would not want to trade 1 damage for 2 damage there. So Grizzly Salvage makes sense.
So let's see what Thompson's working with. He's got a Swamp. He's got a Sign in Blood too. So he's gonna have to discard again after the Sign in Blood. But
Yeah.
he might be searching for lands or something. We're not entirely sure. Probably has like a 3-drop or a 4-drop to play. I think I see a Liliana hanging out in his hand right
Yeah,
now.
it looks like he was a little landlight. He's only got 2. Tries to move to his cleanup step. We see a Grizzly Salvage in reply. Land, Sin Collector appear to be the real options. He can obviously take one of those 2 Restoration Angels, but come on, man.
Yeah, is Restoration Angel really gonna get the job done? Debatable.
Sin Collector, probably hoping to protect from the various cards that we've seen from Kelly. Things like Cremate, Mutilate. Those are probably the big ones he wants to get a read on.
Also get the information, of course, too.
Yeah.
Just what's going on over there?
What you got going on?
You Sign in Blood, you discard. What do you have going on in that case? He's gonna discard a Thragtusk.
It's a bummer too, discard during your cleanup step and then untap with 6 cards. That's just,
Yeah.
that's a little bit of a bummer. I'd be bummed. And you already know what's going to happen. You're like, ugh, this guy.
It's a rough life for Glenn Jones. But you draw another card, so you're up to 7 then.
Sure. I mean,
7's a magic number. What do you want here?
it's your magic number.
You're tough.
I rarely have 7 cards in my hand.
You are tough to please. As we're going to see a Sin Collector here. All right, let's see the goods. Cremate, Abrupt Decay, Liliana the Veil.
Land, Messenger, Thragtusk.
All right.
I'm kind of on this Cremate or this Abrupt Decay. What do you?
Well, because you can't select Liliana the Veil, I think I'm right there with you. And I think I'm on Abrupt Decay, honestly.
Yeah, I think I'm on Abrupt Decay too, mostly because if Robert doesn't have more lands, he'll really want to be able to keep that. It looks like right now the Avacyn's Pilgrim is his source of white mana, so it being vulnerable, not great. Mutilate for Kelly. Mutilate's a nice one. He's going to probably be inclined to play Giraffe's Messenger this turn and then mutilate the board next turn. Yep. That's a healthy amount of damage, probably about a 7 spot.
Yeah. I mean, things could turn around here a little bit, though, for Berni. I mean, yes, Mutilate's going to be quite good, but, I'm fairly sure he has a Restoration Angel, or excuse me,
Unburial Rites?
Thank you, an Unburial Rites, and he's just looking for a 5th mana source. And he drew a Sun Petal Grove, and I'm pretty sure there's an Unburial Rites there, so he can Unburial Rites that Restoration Angel, blink the Sin Collector, and get another look at the hand.
That sounds reasonable.
So here comes the Sin Collector. He doesn't attack the Avacyn's Pilgrim. So Sin Collector going to come across for 2. Thompson going to move down to 15. And there is, ooh, no.
What do you do?
Lingering souls.
Oh, well, that's going to see him get really punished.
I think all the things are going to go away. All the things, I think they're going to go away.
Well, it's possible that when Kelly attacks, Robert will decide to put 2 spirits in front of the messenger. That'll make that mutilate significantly less attractive.
I guess, okay, so, I mean, of course, we're working with perfect information here.
Kelly decides not to give him the option.
Would you have Blink the Sin Collector with the Restoration Angel? Just like no questions asked?
Yeah, I would Blink the Sin Collector. I know there's a spell for me to grab. I would want to go ahead and grab it.
Okay. And so Berni's just going to pass the turn back. Because now Liliana's even real now, too.
Yeah, we're in a tight spot. If I was going to cast Lingering Souls, I don't think I would flash it back. I don't know. That's one of the reasons to take the Cremate, though. Because, like, once you don't take the Cremate, like, you can't just leave the Lingering Souls in the graveyard. But because he did take the Cremate, he actually had that option and declined it.
So now here's Liliana.
And it's not like the second flashback of Lingering Souls actually threatened lethal with Gavany Township. I think the clock was basically the same. So you might as well just leave the extra copy in the graveyard, you know. Keep it for a rainy day.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like when I see him take the Cremate, it's like, okay, he wants the green light on for the Unburial Rites. Is what I guess my thought process was with him taking Cremate. Like after weighing the decision of Cremate versus Abrupt Decay, he decided, all right, I want to take Cremate. I don't want him to cantrip. I don't want to mess with my graveyard. Because we're going to see a Cavern of Souls off the top into a Thragtusk. But now he's just got a lot of trouble on his hands because now Ground Seal's here, so Unburial Rites is going to be off for a while until Acidic Slime shows up to the party. As you see, Thompson draws a Sign in Blood for the turn, but it's just going to be a lot of trouble and difficulty here for Berni to be able to win now. All the tools are online for the green-black mid-range deck. He's going to start with Sign in Blood to get a little bit more information.
It's an Appetite and a Victim of Night.
Yep.
Kelly very much in the driver's seat from here on out.
Yeah, it really does feel that way. As Thragtusk is going to get sacrificed, Beast Open's going to come into play. Abrupt Decay is going to take care of that. Going to keep trucking on over there with that Messenger to knock Berni down to 11.
Yeah, the mulligan really hurting him. As you see, he's been basically attritioned out. You know, Kelly just 2-for-1'd himself, but he just finished Sign in Blooding, so basically a break-even line.
Yeah. I'm just going to untap. He's going to draw a card. It's a Swamp to go along with that Thragtusk, that Appetite for Brains, and Mystery card. Oh, Victim of Night, excuse me.
Yep. Well, the looks pretty tough for Robert. He needs an Acidic Slime in pretty short order to disable that Ground Seal, turn his Unburial Rites back on.
Yep. That is definitely step number 1 for Berni to get back in this game. Now, it always seems to revolve around Acidic Slime, my friend.
The ooze knows, man. The ooze knows.
It really does. You're going to see a Thragtusk here from Thompson. Passing the turn back. So, no, okay, I was going to say, are we going to get an activation on Liliana? We are. Easy to discard that Swamp and pass.
Swamp. I feel like Appetite for Brains probably the better choice there. But hey, Robert just kept a card, so maybe we'll get to Appetite it anyway.
Or make him discard to Liliana.
I mean, he's got options.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Robert's done. He doesn't cast the. No, I would rather not show you the card. Actually, I'll just concede instead.
So Kelly Thompson is going to win this match. He's going to move on to 7-1.
7-1.
Robert Berni going to move down to 6-2. So no top 8 for Robert Berni again. It looks like he's on his way to another top 16. It's tough.
Well, you called it. You know, he.
I didn't try to jinx him.
I'm just. That's not how I heard it. You guys at home, you heard it how you heard it.
I did not try to jinx this. Don't put this on me.
I don't recall any no whammies or knocks on the table. Like.